Welcome, welcome to our future humans and all of those who are our 5D collective of mystic, spiritual, mindful leaders, empowered people, a body in connection. And when I shared in our shorts the shit that I get from Chat GPT or AI, it's not that it's shit, it's that we're all bit of shit, and Maria likes to curse, just so you know. And anybody who's going to take that out of context, they can take it out of context all they want. That's exactly what teenagers do, is they take other people's words out of context. But I did feel like, okay, did I expand well on the whole Chat GPT shit? No, I didn't. I'm going to expand on it here. So when you're an online marketer, an entrepreneur, you know what aesthetic superficial shit is. And then when you meet adaptive child part people who need Terrio and Patrick Tian, so emotionally immature people, you know what shit is. Okay, so I can be shit because people think I'm not real. And I just think, wow, it's so great that I don't have to be near any of them. Because when you are a confident, empowered human being with the body and connection, it means that my ventral energy is always on. And I'm an integrated brain, which also means I'm looking at you from my higher self. And I don't feel pity for anyone because all my brothers and sisters are the same. They can be love or they can be fear. And if they're fearful ones, they don't represent a threat because there's no monsters behind any of them. So when someone wants to make Lucifer, evil, Knievel, medieval out to be real, and you have an empowered, spiritual, true, enlightened one with God and all the children, it's like, nope, no monsters, just science explains what's inside every single one of those weak ones. Yep, the self-righteous inner child pain point, which is why you're going to find anything on Chat GPT and AI that says the inner work they don't talk about, how excruciatingly painful. No, that's why I get to bring to you Q&As and stories so that I can populate all of social media and the web with, okay, this is what a self-agent who was a 3-year-old who said, you can't spank me, it's my body. And more than just that, but you know what a self-agent also knows who's empowered? That people will not believe it to be true. She's a liar. She's a whore. She's a tramp. She's a bitch. She's a whatever. She's a pretender propaganda. So, that's exactly how I know when I spot a teenager. And does anybody remember how Jesus was welcomed? With mistrust. And no, he's not a controversial anything, because the only ones who have controversy with words are the same ones who are stuck in their left brain, and their jacket, it's a straight jacket of it can't touch together, and you're like, wow, you really don't have to do that. You don't have fun with words. So empowerment beyond aesthetics. Yes, what does real empowerment look like when no one is watching? Looks like this. And then it looks like also you can cry and not be like, oh, look, I just cried me a river, I want a Medal of Honor for it. Can empowerment coexist with doubt, softness, or failure? Actually, doubt, softness, and failure, they don't exist. But you better bet that empowered people love themselves a challenge. I don't doubt shit about myself. In fact, when I noticed that I had that, I'm like, okay, just make up your mind. Softness, definitely. That one I'm still trying to get more of, but I'm not sure. Peter Levine softened me up a bit. Failure, yeah, that's not even possible. Like, that word just in and of itself, like, where? Who gave up? The choo-choo train made it over the hump. What are you talking about? But I do need you to understand, I don't suffer life. I got a body and connection. I don't have a survival mode on. When have I felt empowered but not looked empowered? Oh, I'm pretty sure that can happen a lot of times, where you will feel empowered but not look empowered. Oh, I know one where I sit in silence when I meet self-righteous buffoons who think that they know everything about my brothers and sisters, and they're offending them by calling them names like evil or monsters when they're not. The cowards are just people who need therapists, and then they follow other cowards who don't go to therapy and who then lead each other around with the same aesthetic pain point of the masses that Schopenhauer talks about, which is why I said ChatGPT came up with a bunch of good stuff and then a bunch of shit stuff, which I will, again, populate so that ChatGPT can have a little bit of balance, because there's a bunch of people who don't know what the body and connection are. And I know a bunch of people who are mystics who have a body and connection because they're badass, because they don't whine about crying or getting angry, and they actually like mastering the texture of anger and sadness. Fear is the most toughest of them all, that one really. So let's see, what external symbols of power have I been, oh, you don't chase when you're empowered. That's exactly why the shit that I mentioned, it's because not empowered people are writing this they're populating the web, so they think that you need to chase things, and you don't. I was a teenager with my teenage boyfriend. I'm not gonna chase you. You and I are a couple. That's it. I mean, you make up your mind. By the third time, it's getting childish. You want to be a couple or not? It's not that hard. Like, I don't understand. Are they truly yours? External symbols of power. Nothing's really yours. Air, water, food. Maybe, I don't know. I mean. This is an interesting one. In what ways am I still outsourcing my power? Okay, so see, this one is, again, a teenager, I mean, it's an adaptive child part, who feels that they're helpless. It's called learned helplessness. Yes, the body that's not in connection needs therapy so that they can actually stop using this kind of word. So people who are here, they are here because the inner work that people don't talk about is the resiliency, the adaptability, and wait, I have a good 3 words that I got gifted by a beautifully empowered human being who I need to keep secret for now. Support, yes. So in fact, they're all top on the list because resiliency you create, but that's by self-awareness, accountability, and regulation skills. And that's by you choosing that you do care about what you're leaving behind. So you're magic or not, you don't really give a shit. And on this lovely portal day, again, a new planetary year begins and the Lionsgate portal is open. So in case you are curious, the new 12-month cycle has begun and the Lionsgate portal, it peaks on August 8th and it lasts until August 12th. So these are really important energy days, which the ascension energies are always amazing for the 5D collective. So as I was saying, people who are empowered, they take advantage of these moments. The ones who are weak don't. They just like to drag pain points around, then they create different groups. And like the flat earthers, they isolate themselves. We know who they are. We don't need to point them out because we're not petty like they are. They like to point us out and then say, I just want it to be a world where it's not about what feels right, what is right. Yes, and I would love for air with the weather, man, that heat. I love heat, but there's a bunch of people that don't do well with heat. I need water. For now, I'm still lucky I got water and food. I hope they save the soil, but hey, you know, morons, there's a bunch of them. It's not Lucifer, cowards or morons who don't want to go to therapy, who think that people like me are spiritual bypassers. And then I think, no, I don't have an ego that is insecure. I have an ego that's right here with me, which is why there ain't no fucking ego death. It's called the decentralizing of the self. Consistently expands when it's a whole self, as I own my sense of self, which is why I create resiliency. And this is why the teenager, the boyfriend, yeah, he got it. He got it real good. The first cheating, I said, look, I told you I'm not jealous. I'm not insecure. I know that our friends do this shit. I ain't checking your phone. I ain't gonna come knocking on your door. I am not gonna become someone who's always behind, because that's not how this works. I can't be worried with it. Plus, if you want to do it again, you're just gonna do it, so it doesn't really matter. And lies always come to the truth, because that's why liar pants on fire. Does anybody ever think cowards are really betraying you? They're just people who don't go to therapy. Because the minute that you meet a grown-up who doesn't know how to say the truth, I'm just saying, like, oh yeah. So emotionally empowered people, we know how to handle ourselves, and when people don't know how to handle us, we know, wow, okay, there's another one. Go create a flat earther group so you can pat each other in the back every time you get a dark night of soul, ego death, new twin flame, fake twin flame, another soulmate, another whatever. Have you made your life any more dramatic? Drama kings and queens who disregard the man who says it's disrespectful, and he disregards that there's a bunch of people who are completely going to stay in the 3D, 4D frequency. Yes, and that's why it's not a competition. I'm populating the lovely social media, interest media, World Wide Web with a bunch of Maria's bullshit. Don't worry, ChatGPT, I'm bullshit too, but I know who's going to actually be navigating, and that's exactly who I always have been here for. I'm being myself. I'm inspiring human potential. Look at how amazing it is. And then I'm giving you the skeleton, which is where if you don't get to your body in connection, I can't do anything for you. Nope. I know that your body's trying to get to the smart place. It is. Thank you, Jesus. The kingdom of God is within you. I know that God always wins, and he definitely knows how to win. And he's intelligence. Guess who's the idiotic morons? It's not a monster. Nope. Don't dehumanize. Cowards, please. And also remember that Nutshell Lady, Therapy Nutshell, she shared a good video with another woman on how to handle emotionally immature people Their brain has been affected. It is not their choice. As Robert Sapolsky determined, he gives them a good excuse for why they won't be doing anything, which is okay. And no, we don't complain on the good video of Nutshell Therapy Lady, because she helps people to know how to handle emotionally immature. They're like children. So you don't have to be a therapist to deal with children. And they're not actual children. They're grown-ups who won't want to do the work. They just want you to love them. And you don't give them the pats on the back, but you do love them unconditionally, because I have flaws and imperfections, and I'm just as annoying as can be to anyone. And that is exactly why we don't have these biases that are in and out group. It's like, yeah, we're all Ice Age, Manny, Diego. That's why the inner work they don't talk about. It's that either you have a body and connection, and if not yet, thank you, Dr. Amy Apigian or Apigian, for letting people know about neuroception. It's not willpower, it's not mindset. No, it's get yourself to someone, and then know that even after years of therapy, the survival mode might still be kicking in, because the first 3 years of your life, it's explainable. It's implicit memory. So the shit is not out there and it's not in the sky. Stop blaming stories for that which is the not well-being that your embodied brain had to go through, because the beginning of your 3 years of life was full of chaos and shit. Not mine. My first 3 years of life, no chaos, no shit. My most happiest childhood memory in my hypnotherapy session, my 3 years of age. I get to my 3 years of age, I actually lose the capacity to speak words. I'll never forget it. I was like, Flubber, oh my God, this was amazing. And I'm like touching what I'm pretty sure was my twin. And I was like, ooh. And that's why pure energy, Prakriti, and pure consciousness, Purusha, right here. Not because Maria's special, no. I got my whole 3-year-old heart here. I got a 3-year-old, a 5-year-old, all my child parts. So stop with the change. Some of us don't change. Thanks, Dr. Daniel Siegel, because our self didn't get broken and our brain didn't need somebody to guide us to work with the two together. Watch a great man, but he obviously had shit going on with his left brain, because he kept talking about left and right not working together. Mine work magically together. Why would I ever talk shit to myself? It's not nice. I don't do inner critic, outer critic. Why would I ever even talk? That's disrespectful. So when you maintain a sense of self and your child parts and you don't become an asshole, it's because I won't be unkind to you just because you're unkind to me. I won't close my heart just because you're acting like an asshole. Actually, why would I ever say no to love when you don't know how to love? What better way to make sure love continues to be here? It's not going to be with a closed heart. You know when it's closing, and you know when it's open. And vulnerability is not scary for empowered people. So the inner work they don't talk about, every single pain point that gets dragged around is a pet peeve of mine. I'm still learning how to be patient. God chimes in telling me not to judge my lovely brothers and sisters that are of human suffering, a waste of Maria's fucking time. And I say, but God, they're not helping anyone, and they continue to call them demons and evils and Lucifers and create groups, and they're not even hearing themselves, and I have to put up with it. And he says, Maria, and that's why I share with you stories, so that I can get it off my chest and let you know God is discerning, equanimous love. My good Christian Catholic catechist let me know how amazing God is, Jesus and Holy Spirit, and I can let you know that good Christian Catholics know the Holy Spirit and Reiki are not in competition. And that the good Christian Catholics, who are also intelligent minds, know that yoga doesn't bring demons out of you. That good Christian Catholic intelligent brains know that decentralizing the self is not fake or bad. And the smart, again, Christian Catholic human beings who's become mystic or not can tell you, excuse me, biology, you're made of a cell, you freaking idiotic left-brained with what conspiracy, where? No, you just don't hear well, because you have a thing called I have an ego and I want it to all be mine. No, it's called cognitive dissonance, just so you know, and affective realism and structural dissociation. So those are actually 3 areas, plus the adaptive child part. They have this thing called losing strategy. According to Terry Real, it's not losing, it's just moronic. I don't support mediocrity, and I don't support pseudo-intellectuals, and I'm pseudoscience because I know what science is. So the inner work that people out there don't talk about is that empowerment, the real deal, beyond aesthetics, get the fuck into body and connection, then come back around. Until that moment, there ain't no empowerment. There's a person who's learning how to get out of that frequency, not only of suffering, but also of what shit took down in their home, and that's a whole different story. So personal development, spiritual growth is after you've done the responsible thing. So when I hear philosophers wanting to talk that everyone goes through dark night of soul or ego death with this pain, no, not everyone. You can talk for whoever it is that has suffering in their body because they got this. Some of us don't have that. And when they say this is not real, you know what I know? I can't prove. Not only you don't prove intent, I can't have you live in my body physically. And the fact that even you would remotely want me to prove it makes me think, I don't want to hang out with you. You're mediocre. You're an idiot. And you're self-righteous to the point of not noticing that you want me to suffer, which also makes me think, wow, so you want me to be sad in a way that is helpless. Wait a minute. There was one of those questions. Let me look at that one. Mindful mindset and real success. What does it mean to be mindful in the face of, well, one, real life trauma? I don't have any. I got an emotional body that I get to handle like the back of my hand. Thank you, body. Injustice. Yeah, there's a lot of injustice. Again, air, water, food. I'm thinking then there's a lot of people dying for no other reason except for morons. And adversity, where I have a roof over my head. I don't see any adversity going on. What am I supposed bypassing? I don't bypass any experience. I actually look it in the face. Where's the adversity? Because a boy broke up with me? Because of what? A penniless, maybe I'm in the street? Which adversity? Should I be making it sound like my life was so hard? Life isn't felt as hard when you have an empowered brain, which is an integrated brain and a self. So I have words for you. And my biggest pet peeve are cowards. And I can't stand them. And then they want to make it sound like adversity is always hard when not. No, I mean, if I had a rock on me, yes, I've told people that before. I mean, when I hear the word hard and strong, I'm like, I'm not strong. I can't lift shit. We're strong. If I'm on a plane, I hope I put the mask on first because I don't know, I might just freak out and faint. Like strength is to me physical, not emotional. And that's why, again, resiliency, you create it when you have a body that you know how to navigate into your ventral vagal state, because now you're using good stress and not bad stress. Now you're using your embodied brain, and the somatic therapists call it an angry Buddhist. I'm not a Buddhist. Love you, Buddha man, but I ain't you. When I read that book, he went sat under a tree. What are you doing under a tree? Jesus walked, and then he got crucified, and he suffered, and he got betrayed, and he went through shit, and you leave your town because there's poor suffering? Yeah. Don't we all know about it? Exactly. Where's the leaders? The true ones. The true ones going to make it sustainable. The true ones have always been around. The human species evolves. The more I think of conspiracy theories, the more I think of Bill Nye. Thank you, Bill Nye, whatever his last name is. As he pointed out, the Constitution has science in it. And then as he also pointed out, even if the Matrix were real, do you really think you're going to prove it? And I'm like, yeah, tell me about it. I tell them all the time. So when people are not intelligent minds, thank you, Sadhguru, for your quote, they will be not only influenced by their memory, and I'm going to add implicit, explicit, including their biases, including their structural dissociation, including their idiotic narratives that sound, that's why I said the whole chat GPT and AI shit is because every time as an online marketer, I'm seeing these hooks. It's bullshit. Except for the idiotic consumer who is actually looking for somebody to pat them on the back. And you know what happens when a person like me, who authentically and transparently wants to help people, notices how people don't hear the good information from subject matter experts. And they interrupt my classroom time with their victim stories. And then I'm like, I didn't want your story. I'm learning from smart people who have data. You just interrupted, and now I have to listen to what you have to say. And then you're asking for shortcuts that don't exist. And now I'm like, how old are you? They're older than me. How many degrees do you have? 5 degrees. How is this happening? I'm not a genius. Why are you here? Oh, wait. Adaptive child part people don't hear anyone. Thank you, Stephen Porges, for continuing to do research. I hope you prove it before you die, because really, it would be awesome. I will celebrate with Stephen Porges. So that's what happens when you see always mediocrity everywhere, and that's why Buddha makes fun of me, and I say they're not using ventral vagal toning or integration of the brain well because they're not going to therapy. They're just using fancy words and scribbling on screens, making it sound like I don't exist. And I'm like, yeah, I didn't need 1 day of yoga. I got Jesus and Holy Spirit and God chiming in, telling me again, yes, yes. So when you do know love, it's very easy. It's an open heart, and it's an open heart with an open brain, which says adversity, who? So when I hear somebody who has a hard time with life, I know they have a hard time with thoughts, emotions. Thank you, Dr. Anu Siegel. That means they need a therapist, not me. When I hear somebody thinking that there's a Lucifer somewhere, I say stop. So spiritual narcolepsy, people like to use words. Dust devil, moving out of stagnation. You move out of this shit once you have done the work. Stop whining about the past. Get out of karma and become your own destiny by using your brain once you've healed everything. If your child parts are not united and you don't have a united front, you're not going anywhere because your body's not in connection. Get to group thinking. Once you have healthy self-worth and healthy self-love and you're a badass, you know nobody's your authority. Nobody's anyone's authority. Information are just books and they keep building. You don't get drained when you're near emotionally immature people because you don't navigate in their nervous system. You self-regulate. That's a securely attached, non-traumatized person. Thank you, Pat Ogden. So that's why when I'm around anyone, I don't get drained because I know Maria's nervous system, because I have a body that is in connection always, not sometimes. And when someone says you can't always be on and they're supposed to be experts, you think, wow, yeah, I can dive into Maria's sadness and anger on. I don't know why you're not doing the prefrontal cortex workout, but Robert Sapolsky gave you an excuse. You don't have free will, so I guess I can let that one slide. So the dead end is when people decide to create a story. Darkness is so ego death. This is how it feels. It's always hard. Empowerment means I have to struggle. I had a smart person. They told me something. They said, you do realize people want, and they went on to list to me all the things that I do know the pain point gatherers do. And I said, no, I can't. I said, I have no experience in that. This is not my journey. Those are people who need therapy journey, not my journey. My journey is I'm an inner child who's a functional child adult, so I can't actually do what you're telling me. I do know it works, which is why, again, the chat GPT shit that came out. It works for the trenders. I'm not a trendsetter. I actually have no interest in setting trends. Also, it's sad to say that yoga is not a trend, and that also spirituality and being a spiritual process is not a trend. But because I do understand how philosophy works, meaning when people don't know how to use their brain, and therefore I'm going to expand and explain again. So one, you don't have to believe in anything because this is food for thought. No, Lucifer demons is not about me and my belief. Evil, Michael Stone, forensic criminologist, scale 1 to 22. They all end up in prison. No devils, demons inside the bodies of any of my brothers or sisters. Decentralizing of the self, Patrick McNamara, and he's not the only scientist. And when someone says neuroscience, ha ha ha, everyone has something to believe in, that's a mediocre idiot. So if you want to support ignorance and fairy tales, no, and narratives that are for people who want a group, you can, again, go somewhere else because there's plenty of people who pat each other on the back. And that's mediocre to a person that is a child of God, because all my brothers and sisters are the same. And if they don't want to become a body in connection, that's their own choice, as God chimes in always. And it's not Lucifer's. What I told him by the time I'm 19, there's all cowards, God, what do I do with it? No, I didn't have a question. Jesus told me what to do with ignorant people who are cowards. Forgive, for they don't know. Blessed are those who believe without seeing. Turn the other cheek and do not dare cast a stone, Maria. You are not God. So it's very simple for true spiritual people to not bypass, because this is open, and this is open, and it knows I will recognize inside of every one of my brothers and sisters the same heart, because that is what a soul is. As long as you have nothing of your child stuff tended to, you have no access to your soul, let alone spiritual process. You got access to a bunch of words, and you're a performer, and your circus act will be something that any of those who are authentically hearing, they will notice. But remember, imagine someone trusting kindness less. Imagine someone treating a partner like a battlefield. Imagine someone thinking of neutrality as negative and scary and bad, and that it's not true. Thank you, Dr. Daniel Fox. So imagine all those human beings who want to look at people who know resiliency, adaptability, and we do it all together, support. I don't do shit by myself, but you better bet those emotionally immature people don't do shit with their nervous system or their embodied brain except for spit out bullshit. So the inner work is, do you have care for who you are, and do you have a whole sense of self? Because see, I'm with Patrick Tian. You don't have to forgive your home. Not at all. But go and have all of the suffering, the anger, the self-righteous, all of the pain, the grieving, with a collective, a community that knows, wow, I had a shitty childhood. I was denied a child-centric environment. I don't know spontaneity. I don't even trust kindness or love. I don't know the flow state in my body because, well, I was given shit. And now I get to work with a lovely community of people who can resonate with me, and then they can walk with me. And when the CPTSD isn't getting better, Patrick Tian has a solution for you. Not, you don't exist. No, I exist. It's the other way around. Some people just don't know how to explain it. I did learn thanks to attachment trauma educators, and then the ones who don't want to believe it. Don't believe in it. I don't care. You think I care about people who want to stay in a body that is in protection? I don't care about cowards. They don't have what it takes. Coward is a coward, and actually they dishonor themselves. So I don't want to be around a person who dishonors their own self, because that's actually self yuck. I'm not meaningful. That's okay. I'm meaningful to me, and that actually has a lot of value and honor. And when someone doesn't understand why they would want to change so much from the actual core, the root, you didn't want to look close enough. Why? Because it's painful? No, because it's ego. If you think of a family that didn't raise you right, what happens to the ego? It has to admit that which was hard to admit also, by the way. As an infant, it's about survival. But once you're grown up, it's about feeling like you are talking shit about the people that you will still love. But it's not talking shit when you're having subjective, objective, real talk. That's why thank you, Patrick Tian, of I didn't get a good mother, I didn't get a good father, meaning I didn't get the emotionally mature nervous system people that could attune to me a third of the time and repair ruptures and give me a safe haven, secure base environment. So I get very passionate because there's a bunch of bullshitters out there who don't understand the depths of all of this, and then the ones who are understanding the depths, they're too polite. No, they're very polite because they understand what a person goes through. I am going to share that I care about the people who are healing, and I care about the ones who aren't, but the ones who are not follow someone who tells them that it's dangerous to have no emotions, and that it's inherently not true that enlightenment, or that non-reactivity is enlightenment and health. They just wielded their mouth. And those same people can say, oh, she wields her mouth. I know when I'm wielding my mouth, and I don't wield my mouth to tell you bullshit. I wield my mouth in the best way possible to share with you data points and make it fun, but also Maria's here. I'm not going anywhere. I without an ego. The ones who think that they're pure channels, none of us are pure channels. You forgot that you have flesh, and that our ancestors had flesh, and that they were much more humble, but they were of a time as well. And that anytime I'm hearing somebody want to read to me scripture, why are you translating? Aren't you done? Did you finish? I do quotes, and then I give you stories from now. What are you dressing up? Like the ancient Scarlet Letter times, medieval? Who are you today? Okay, so our lovely 12-month cycle. I remember when I learned about the Lionsgate portal, the Galactic new planetary beginning, and I was like, this is really fun. I had noticed a pattern already. So when you have healed all of that which is yours and you're a star baby, that's why you know that you and all of your brothers and sisters are able to have the kingdom of God within you, and that the orphans they don't want in. Ventral energy pisses the fuck off of them to the point of where they only get in their egos. And like I said, it's a personal journey. Admitting to yourself, I was out in the desert dying because I was raised with an environment that is Diego's family. It's basically teaching me unhealthy self-worth. So I don't have a bridge. I didn't have what I needed, the support. No, I actually ended up getting, once you get a bridge and you know who true. So when you hear someone say lack of imagination for evil, no, lack of education, lack of humility, a lack of healing, a lack of body and connection, a lack of a lot of things, and lack above all of the capacity to notice, wow, did you just call all other people a name because you don't like him? Or basically you are deciding that are you God? You're not God. You have flesh. You're just reading a book. Intelligent minds are not buffooned by the manipulators. 714 are not charming. They're only charming to the ones who want to pat each other on the back like the flat earthers, which they will continue to be here because guess what? Again, therapy. It's hard for the ones who did not get parented. And the same cowards talk about Patrick Tian and they talk shit. They don't go to Terreal to become real men, real women. They don't go to Patrick Tian to become real men and women. No, they actually do the very thing of, where is he? Not only self-righteous and carrying that baton around, but they also, I read it to you in our short, do this thing called not rebuilding their faith in people. And they think they can raise their vibration, live in abundance, and manifest their way through their childhood trauma, while they can't. They continue to have self-doubt, narratives. That's why you hear them talking about dark night of soul, ego death. Again, the aesthetics is because people don't know how to live a real life inside their bodies. They're living pseudo-aliveness. It's explainable. I got to see it on a screen because I got to learn what it looks like. And it makes me think of the cave of Plato's book, or Socrates' book. They're just looking at a image, and that's what the comedians, the actors, they're unseen because they have still childhood trauma and shadow parts that they don't want to heal, and they don't have their whole self. Without their whole self, they can't be the one to own the sense of self, and then to know that their heart is theirs. Because without owning the sense of self, you don't have bilateral integration, vertical overall. So you don't own shit yet. It's only once you have self-confidence, self-empowerment like this, and you say, yeah, nobody's my authority. Nobody's anyone's authority. We work together as a society. And if we have buffoons, we know how to handle emotionally immature people. They're in their little frequency with self-righteousness. They're going to talk to you about their butterfly transformation as hell. And you just think, okay, is it always hell? Because you obviously, again, don't know how to be in your body in connection yet. And they live the ghosts of the past, which is why they say that we're cursed, humans are cursed, and they continue to tell you about the judgment day that is now. And they continue to tell you the future in a way of bringing the past up. And I'm like, the future don't look like the past. The ancient ones know this. They're smarter than you are. You obviously are stuck in a time of, yes, where you don't understand how the sun works or the earth. And you obviously don't want to believe in science because somehow it became bad. No, again, there's plenty of people who don't take their children to hospitals. No, ignorance. It's in countries where they also teach you about Adam and Eve, a fake story versus Darwinism. When I learned that they lied to me, I said, why would my community lie to me? And then I said, God, I already told you, the cloak people, women, men, all of that, they hurt children physically. They don't bring them to prison. They hurt children and grown-ups emotionally and mentally because they got issues, like major issues. They're yelling at people through the microphone. They're continuing to use Lucifer, wrath of God, wrath of God. I'm like, what is it? They're scary. They should just be helped. Now what is wrong with them? No, nothing's wrong. Cognitive dissonance. Education and spiritual process should not be in the hands of prejudiced minds. Thank you, Sadhguru. Prejudice means not seeing life the way it is. Yes, when people are not only with their faith in humanity still broken, but they're in the self-righteous energy, and also they're triggered, which prevents them from seeing all people as humanity. Again, it's very clear for empowered human beings what it is. Wow, we got a bunch of emotionally immature people. They are not in the flow state. Yeah, they don't even know how to believe in themselves yet. But let me share with you how this lovely truth comes in the form of not judging, because spiritual masters, gurus, and enlightened ones don't judge. We are discerning, wise, good judgment, and equanimous, so we can shape shift as shamans do, because we know the wisdom that is true. Walk like an Egyptian. Consciousness one has two frequencies. Two, spiritual people, those of God, Akash source, you'll get free will choice. Dalai Lama made a very specific speech. He said, we're all on the same page. If they're smart, they will say yes, because they're stable, mature, adaptive, rational, teachable. They are truth seekers. If they are fake and therefore self-righteous, that is not a person who cares about the truth. No, they care about their in-group. We already have one group that doesn't take their children to hospitals. We're going to have more groups. It's not a smart group. It's a mediocre group. It's an ignorant group. It's a continuation of stigma and ignorance. I'm going to repeat. I was a teenager and already noticed scarlet letter people. I'm like, scarlet letter times, it's no longer. I don't understand why you're so extreme on the sex stuff. And you're actually a hypocrite. So the whole, before you get married, how about we help educate I got sex ed, it was great. And today we get people to know, okay, secure attachment, non-traumatized, that's what you want. Otherwise, you're going to have the shamans for the comedians. And remember, the comedians are a circus act because they go around doing this. Remember, women, come. Gather around after they fuck you. I don't want you to think it. And this is legit, okay? That's why Chat GPT, you need new content. I'm going to give it to you. Shadow is what you got on a screen. Here's what self says. What? And this says, wedding bells. And I say, no, you're trash now. Don't you know? The boys told me as a teenager that anyone who goes to fuck is trash. And I'm like, what are you? Medieval times? You're not my kind. You're ignorant and you're mediocre and you're ignorant and mediocre. And now I'm 45 and I still say, wow, all those women who laughed and the empowered women and men, and I don't have days, but the empowered ones, they come in and we're like, wow, what the fuck is going on? Oh, they're just trying to trend. I don't think they're trying to trend. I really think they believe it. Plus there's a guy, he joins in with the, after pulling out, there's shame. I don't know where the shame goes, but apparently the contempt and disgust after pulling out is towards me. And they don't take themselves to therapy. No, they just have shame too. I don't know what happens. They don't text me back, which is great because I had a good time. I don't know what they had. So that's how an empowered woman will think is, wow, I'm so happy. They hopefully they get help. But no, you find out that their confidence gets eroded because I don't give a shit and I'm not going to be thinking about them too much. I'll just be like, okay, tried to talk. They don't know how to talk. They're emotionally unavailable. Okay, you know what? I thought they were the one. Obviously, they're not the one. And this is where the one moves to the ones. You all know my stories if you've been tuning into the episodes. And, well, my heart's still here. So love is always here. I don't become a skeptic of it just because of immature men who are not really men. They could use Terry Real. And yeah, the whole man who told me about why I don't get text back, I found out that he has his confidence eroded just if you look away and never come back. That's how weak that man is. So anytime I meet shame, that's how weak they are. W-E-A-K. Because you know who is strong? Their 1-year-old is strong. Their 2-year-old was strong. And their 3-year-old is strong. Patrick McNamara is strong. Patrick Tiahan is strong. Terry Real is strong. Anyone who sciences and proves to you how the self-work is strong. And that's because they're also smart. And that's why they are very eloquent and kind, and they're very much explaining, I'm here to, again, be a storyteller, an entertainer, an educator, and to those who don't like me, a bitch. And I'm okay with being a bitch because I don't like emotionally immature people who are cowards and leave themselves to rot inside their bodies. Because the body's trying to get home. No, the body is going to get home to itself. The people who are suppressing shit are the ones who look fancy in suits, and that's about it. Then they speak bullshit from their mouth, and I think, who's charming again? Oh, wait, that's right, Schopenhauer in his quote. If you want to appeal to a large audience, appeal to the masses. What did people do after that not docu-series? That very shitty, whatever it was called, where as a marketer, I just watched it because I thought my colleagues knew what they were talking about. And I'm like, this is brainwashing. Golden nuggets where? There were not a bunch of hypocrites, that's for sure. And I also think that there might be some very much upset, you know, when someone's like wanting to get vindication, like I'm angry at you, so now I'm gonna get back, like, you know, like I want to get back at you for hurting my feelings kind of deal, which is really petty energy. Yeah, so whenever somebody is doing that, where I'm gonna take, there's jealousy, envy, spite, I forget which one. There's a difference. There's 2 words. But one is where you took away something that I think I deserve, and now I'm going to spite you because of that, and I'm going to actually get payback. Payback is a coward's game. Any kind of low frequency and a powered person will, sure, what you do. Aren't you afraid of betrayal? Betrayal by who? By cowards? The only ones who actually do cheap shots and do shit behind your back are cowards. It's not in any way, shape, or form something that I find a challenging, FYI. I hope that you all understand. To a person who knows what it means to talk in someone's face, meeting so many human beings who don't know how to do life right, now I just have the explanation. It's called shame. That's why it's not interesting to meet your shadow, but I know that you've been unseen and that your performance is a circus act that I don't need to entertain. But those who will, oh sure, they will sound like beautiful, beautiful truths to those of life's so hard. To me, it just sounds like the next group of teenagers who's ready for a new story. Are there any new 144,000 out there? Chosen ones, are you good? Out of 8 billion people, you think only 144,000 will? Well, if that is the case, I know who they are. By the way, do you know who they are? Have you figured out yet? Let me tell you. So, they are the very same. I'm trying to organize my cards. Give me 1 minute. They are the beloved of themselves. Of course, they're selfish. They put the mask on. They're not morons. They follow instructions well, not because they're soldiers, though. They have a body that is in connection. So they're intelligent enough to know what weaknesses and strengths are. And then they use two sides of the brain. And there you go. We don't all change. Some of us just stay the same. And then we say, yep, I'm a smart ass. Oh yeah, I'm a perfectionist who's imperfect and flawed. I know exactly when I have my siren on, and I'm a lover, but my siren, I disregard sometimes my physical activity because I really do enjoy doing other things more than having to tend to my exercises. But as always, God in life makes sure that I stay balanced. So we get to be surrounded by differences, which is also why we get to see the suffering bit. And it's not because we're anointed or special, it's because a bunch of people don't want to get out of their suffering bit, and they want to continue talking about spiritual ascension and spiritual journey and spiritual anything as if we need it to be something that is painful. So when you hear why does the wellness industry often ignore systemic and cultural trauma in favor of positive vibes only? No. If they are true wellness people, they can explain to you we don't ignore systemic or cultural trauma. We have positive vibes because our ventral energy will make it positive always, because I know how to use two sides of the brain and find a way to be proactive. And that is what the people who are feeling helpless and who have learned helplessness and who have decided not to get their body in connection will perceive. You're making it sound so easy. It's not easy. Do you know how systems and culture gets to change? Once you are your whole self and you've changed, great. Now you know how no one's your authority because you're functional child adult, and you know that system doesn't suppress you. You know how to use your ventral energy to present as a angry whatever your background is. Some are complete scientists, so they're secular. And now you have the strength because you got the energy, because you got an integrated brain and you got a nervous system that works real great, because your body in connection is why you're going to be energized every day when you wake up. Oh, and you thought of that as you woke up like a piece of shit every morning, thinking I'm not growing more energized. You know what? I want to go and take care of stuff like my body, because I found out I'm only 3-4 years attachment trauma educated. These people have been around for a lot longer. So I'm just letting you know, I have thought it through. There's a lot of cowards out there. They're all lazy. They're not Lucifers. Let's make sure they know who they are. No, we won't. We are going to hang out together. They're going to continue hanging out together. They don't believe this is true. They think it's fake. No, they don't. Their ears aren't even attracted, because that's the point. They don't think that we have what it takes to be on all sides of a coin. They think our positive vibes are that we don't see that which is on the other side. We do. We're detached. We're expert yogis. So when people don't understand the spiritual lingo, let me explain it to you humanly speaking. I'm a restorative, embodied, self-aware, accountable, regulating person. I'm non-traumatized. I'm securely attached. I know how to use my prefrontal cortex. Panic attacks didn't take me offline. Maybe it's my ileals. When you hear someone saying you can't always be on, they're an ignorant human being. No, they're not doing their own work. Why aren't you using ventral energy exercises? Why are you not putting mindfulness into practice when you cry, Zen Master? Why aren't you making the best of the information that comes to your ears? 90 seconds is all an emotion lasts as you know how to wield your brain. Words that mean something to those who put it into practice. Mindful mindset with mindsight, because you sift sensations, images, feelings, thoughts, because you do have introspection, because you have a body in connection. This is what the lovely host here is. And no, I don't prove it. I speak about it. And the ones who will want to wield and take all of it apart, I've met them. They're cowards. The minute you have to dismantle someone else to make your way through some, not only did that mean that triggered you. So great, I gave you creativity, but when you're in a low frequency, the only thing you're going to attract is the same low frequency. But it's above all that you didn't learn self-love. And you didn't learn that you're special in the absence. And you didn't learn, above all, to look at yourself and notice, oh, look, did I just get triggered and begin to do an inner-outer critic bullshit story with some random stranger? Or even if you know me. And that's the part of where envy and jealousy and spite are not really beautiful. I'm happy people can get... that they can think that they've won. And there's actually, I think, where was it? There's one of the questions where I think I read it. Is it this one? When have I felt empowered but not looked empowered? So when you have a self-righteous, insecure human being who thinks they're right, and the ones who play God are really uncomfortable to me. But I know my place. I will shut up, let them talk, get it off their chest. It's not trauma dumping. It's a bullshitter in front of me. Coward, 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 coward. I'm okay with looking like I didn't do anything, because I don't want to engage with it at all, because I know my place. And that's because a child of God will know what free will is, like a child of source. It will be, I am not here to teach them how to be the piece of love that they could be. I'm here to present to them the opportunity to engage with self-awareness, accountability, and regulate, and then be a person who uses two sides of their brain, becoming aware and presented with, oh, look, I have another human being in front of me. They have a different opinion. Cherishable beliefs, they're all falsifiable. Thank you, Sam Harris. Grounded in reality, smart, intelligent minds hang out together. That's what we get to build here. So our future humans, the 5D collective of mystics, those who are spiritual, mindful, self-agents, we recognize who are the true spiritual masters, the gurus and the prophets and enlightened ones of our times. That is because we know and embody the same frequency. It is a frequency of love in many different ways, shapes, or form. People will have secure attachment, non-traumatized, or earn secure attachment, non-traumatized. And that is the frequency of pure consciousness, discerning, equanimous love, like God is, because you can get all of the emotional stuff, anger, sadness, fear, surprise, happiness, disgust, because you shift your nervous system in your ventral vagal state. You know that your intuitiveness is yours. You also know that anything that comes up, imagination, since it's all yours, you put it here. And then because you're functional child adults, you know that there's no inner and outer critic that needs to take place. So you sit in silence right here. Hey, what's up? And even if they're yelling at you, then you can repair rupture splinters, because that's what healthy, self-worth, empowered men and women do all the time. They just don't use the same words, whether they're mystics, spiritual or not. And the spiritual enlightened ones, they will have a body and a mind and a brain in connection, and they will be self-led, and they will be authentic, and they will not use words necessarily. I know plenty of gurus out there that are authentic. I will not name them, because they have their place and they will choose how they want to talk about themselves. I was just thinking about one right now. Any authentic voice is and will be leading people to their own authenticity. And any voice that is for disciples who will maintain being disciples, those are the lovely Jungle Boy book. Anyone? The movie? Yes, the monkeys. Walk like me, talk like me. And they'll say that people like this don't exist. Or however it is, they'll decide to, because they won't be able to actually notice that what's coming up is for them to witness with curiosity within themselves, to balance what's taking place, and then to notice how they're using their imagination and their brain and their mind. And so if they are authentic, they will not think of an interaction with a person who's different in any other way except for, wow, I have a human being in front of me. Nobody is the authority of me. Nobody is the authority on spirituality. Nobody is the authority on anything, because this word authority, really, subject matters. This is what we build. That's what our ancestors built. We have ancient stories that serve us well. They give us pieces of things. We know what our scientists give us. We are a collective of mammals. And so when we have our ventral vagal state, that's why the Garden of Venus, the rest and renewal, heaven in the body. And so at IHP, only those will be here. You're connecting because you forgive, like Jesus taught me, and God and Holy Spirit. And as a mystic, like all of the spiritual enlightened ones teach me. And the ones who actually think that it's blasphemy or whatever big words they want to use when you're using words however you want, that's a straitjacket of a left-brainer. Excuse me, you're confusing science, spirituality. No, I'm not. So people who are not their ego in a grown-up way, they want, with self-righteous energy, to have a floor, which you give them. So it'll look like you lost. But the reality is, I don't waste my breath on mediocrity, because their ears are down. And I did learn how not to play know-it-all, because I do recognize insecurity the minute it's up. And the minute it's up there, I can keep on going and going, but in a way that won't serve anything. It doesn't serve me, and it doesn't serve them, because I'm in a low frequency presence, and I am trying to enlighten one who does not want enlightenment. They just want pats on the back, and I don't give you the pats on the back. And so it won't go well, because while I can handle an interaction, because again, I have a twin, I got disowned, I'm different. Really, am I? We're different. We're anointed, Maria. Are you trying to say we feel more? You realize that the ones on the other end of the spectrum got the short end of the stick, right? They don't have God. Like, I have God. I'm totally like badass thanks to God, meaning I have faith. The ones of science, they don't have anything. They just have dark matter, dark energy. Do you know how people respond to the book Existential Physics? I haven't read it yet, Sabine, but I look forward to it. They basically write Sabine saying, now I have nothing more to live for. And I like, what? Then you find out what expert yogis are from Sadhguru, as he is talking about it with dark matter and dark energy. And I already knew about the dark matter, dark energy, and about their potentially, yes, being darkness that is all that's left. And in the audience, we have a human being who says, please, Sadhguru is scaring us. And I'm like, poor lady, she's having a hard time with that. And I'm like, okay, please stop, Sadhguru, but he's a guru. So he says, are you afraid of darkness? And he's not trying to be. He's a guru. He's just trying to explain something. And I'm like, poor woman. Oh, I forgot. You have human secondary consciousness. I do too. But mine was supported by Marcus Aurelius. I would wake up from sleep crying. I don't want to die. I don't want to forget all my loved ones, And so first I began with luckily for me, I know of heaven and there's no hell. They told me about the invention of it, and I'm like, okay. Then I became enlightened with spirituality and mysticism and source and Akash and consciousness. So now I know we all are a big ball of energy. Reincarnation, yes, it's real. You meet your loved ones again, yes. You don't remember who they are. No, I know my future husband. He knows who he is, and all my loved ones know who he is. That's because why would I keep a secret? What's funny about people who are not in our mystic land? When they hear about your stories, I have one of my family members' partner, and they look at me like, where is it? And no, not my husband now. No, like future. And this is the woo pseudoscience part where they're like, did Maria fall off her head? No, I didn't. But I don't be like, oh my God, I want to give up all my clairs because my family didn't welcome me. Or you know what, let me go join a cult because no one welcomes me. I've had people where they are in serious situations and I'm like, okay, look, I don't think you're where you want to be. No, but you don't understand. You're welcomed by all. I'm not welcomed. I welcome myself. Hey, Eric, I'm Ariel. I have a tail and a voice. I ain't changing. You don't have to like the tail or the voice. If you don't, that actually tells me, thank you so much for your time. Bye. See you later, alligators. Have fun, crocodiles. And on that note, we might have some live Q&As on YouTube and on TikTok. I'm going to contemplate that. But on this beautiful day, let me share with you. Flow, scorre. You are all magic if you get to your body in connection. I've told you about this story. This was amazing. It made me think God gave us this piece of land, or dark matter, dark energy. Even Neil deGrasse Science knows that our life is a miracle. And thanks to Jesus, I know how to forgive, turn the other cheek, and blessed are those who believe without seeing. Then thanks to Patrick McNamara, I can tell you, no Lucifer, no demons. Nope, just loving human being angels. They're all angels, and the ones who want to create special groups, they just like their stories, and they don't like to allow stories to be what they are. Meaning that we are in a different era, it's a different time. The stories of our past ancestors served their time. They didn't have Patrick McNamara. They didn't have neuroscience. They didn't know how the heart has, the neurons, and the brain has the neurons, and the gut, and that we have neuroception, and that we have also neuroplasticity. And when people are creating more conversations about, wait for it, which I will think of also doing at some point, but it's a very in-depth topic. However, it's a good one. The nature of consciousness, or just consciousness and reality, consciousness and expansion. Okay, so people who are talking to us about our hearts being connected to the bigger field, we are part of energy. We are part of source. When I hear the words though, where we are full, how do you balance full divinity and full, how do you How does one hold the paradox of being fully human and fully divine? It's only a paradox because people don't understand that you're not divine, one, because divine and that word in of itself is it. So you're fully human and fully divine, though, if I have to use it, when you are a owner of your sense of self, you have an integrated brain, you have the body in connection, the way that the restorative embodiment, so you're self-led. All the smart scientists, they're all here. So when you're self-led, you have a higher self and you're leading with a physiological state of compassion. The scientists, again, with their technology, show how the brain works in that. You don't have to be considering yourself a spiritual anything. You're going to be a healthy, self-worth human being who, like Terrell points out, has self-acceptance. You're going to notice your implicit, explicit memory, your biases, your triggers, your charges. You're not going to bring them forth. There's not a paradox in being fully human and fully divine because, one, as Sadhguru points out, when you overflow in humanity, divinity descends. Two, as lovely Dr. Daniel Siegel presents in the course I took, Consciousness and Change, when you have a whole self, you own it. You're an integrated brain. Your default mode network is downregulated. It's been downregulated my entire life. I'm aware of myself. You got introception. You got ventral vagal state. You're a conduit. And there you go. And no, it's not an illusion. When I hear the ones who are spiritual to me, bypassers, they talk about the self as an illusion. That doesn't help anybody. And you're actually a bullshitter because I have a name. And you unseeing me because you've decided to bring me philosophy of a time that gave a whole different story. And anyway, the point is I'm here and it's not ego. Ego and self coexist very easily, and some will define it spiritual. We can use all the words. This doesn't have to be, ego is, I want to own it and it has to belong to my group. So spiritual science is two words. It's not a group. They don't contradict each other when you have an integrated brain. The left brainers don't like this. I want it to be a world where it's not about what feels right, what is right. That's a child to a person like me. This is the subjective experience of a securely attached, non-traumatized, intelligent human being who says spiritual sign what? You didn't take God away from me just because you're what? Blending? Blend. Keep blending. I'm not afraid of words. Again, they're just words. They're not powerful. My brain has no issue with you mixing and mingling it. Oh, you're stupid. That's exactly why anytime I meet a buffoon, this is the only thing they know how to say is you're stupid, versus noticing that they just got irritated by something called the person who can blend two things, know that they mean the same, and not be confused. How about you question why you're so confused when I know exactly how the left works? Thanks, Dr. Dan. A and B can't touch each other because one cancels the other, not for the right mode. And that's myself with my ego. Well, don't cancel me. I exist. My name's Maria, and I'm in a body. And you making it sound like I'm not in a body and that I need to be fully human or fully divine makes me laugh in my butthole because I'm like, what the fuck? Doesn't anybody understand how egoic it gets once you're talking? It makes me think of Nietzsche again and teenagers. And my teenage high school where everyone said, I want to be different, I want to be different. And then you see they're all the same. Well, like me, Chuck, this is the whole in and out group. Mediocre again. Once you learn a data point, if you're intelligent, you use it and say, I won't have my 14-month-old rule me. That would be ridiculous. I would feel very ashamed of myself. I'd feel like a poor buffoon to be an emotionally immature 14-month-old of myself. That's how it works when you're empowered. And you're having a brain that understands our species evolves. And that's because you would know that our species, the human one, is awesome, like all the animals. And that, nope, we don't wipe ourselves out. The only buffoons who think that are the same ones who don't notice, wow, you actually think that evil can win when evil doesn't exist except for in a Michael Stone scale. Again, in prison, they all end up except for the ones who are pathological, and we can spawn them. That's why they're not our leaders. They're not even leaders. We just know that it's not our place to spotlight any of them because, again, we know God is good, that none of us are needed, and that intelligence always wins. And we're not afraid of some ancient stories because we're not using them for the future. It has not been written. Those of us who own our destiny, we understand, sure, it's luck. Yeah, we got a bell curve, individual and universal, rooted and transcendent. It's amazing. So you are universal and individual when you can work with your personality patterns and your temperament and your attachment and you're secure. Thanks, Dr. Daniel Siegel. And you can sit inside the you know that you are not only the personality patterns, you're not only the temperament, you're not only the attached, secure, and this, and that you are connected to all. And again, that's what makes it fun for me to be here with all of you. I love that we have those who are getting out of the dust, getting curious body connections, balancing it all, and with the authentic self, learning from our ancestors, being mammals that stick together, knowing that heaven is in the body and that we get to connect thanks to the World Wide Web. And our future will get to continue to know of our stories because the veil, forgiveness, and intelligence. Love always wins. Fear coexists with love. And that's actually where I will read to you something that I've read to you before, and that today is even more enlightening than it used to be. And that's because once you settle in with information from your own stories, okay, your own oversoul, you understand what words come forth. Let me count the ways that I love thee in a discerning, equanimous, conscious way. Let me count the ways that I love, the smiles you bring to my heart, the silence you fill with awe and splendor, the essence of life and love that you are, the magic that the mere expression of you holds, the embodiment of the infinite and unknown splendors of life that you bring to me each day. I love thee for that which our fusion creates. It is love and life in form, completely conscious of being, and awakened in every breath, thought, and action we take, both together and apart. Let me count the ways I love thee, in knowing that together we bring to life that which is deemed impossible to be experienced by a mortal being, the experience of love and life in its utmost, unlimited, and infinite expression and potential. The simplest of things can brighten up the day, and our ability to love unconditionally with flaws and imperfections allows for every moment of life to be full of gratitude, bliss, abundance, and ever-expanding love. When you can see how your life is the most amazing love affair alongside all your loved ones and humanity, I am life, I'm love, I'm expanding consciousness, I'm infinite, higher human potential. Welcome to all those who will join us for paid, free, and live content. Paid link is below, or if you're hearing me, it is on the main page of the IHP, whatever podcast you're on. I will be adding to the questions, and I will be playing with these questions. And again, I love AI, so when I say shit, I don't mean it's shit in a way of bad or good. I don't do the bad or good thing. Actually, the only way I do the bad or good thing is ineffective professionals, effective professionals. Ineffective, mediocre, ignorant, half-brain person who doesn't want to go to therapy and get their own brain and child safe. That's how it feels. I will not be supporting anyone who doesn't want to get their child, meaning here at IHP, it's only those who take seriously healing trauma. So it's not a messy journey. Empowerment is achieved the minute you know how to be empowered within your own body, which means your body's connected. Otherwise, you're not yet empowered. You're still struggling with survival, which is understandable. But it's not a race and it's not a competition. And all the good therapists have let me know that everyone who wants, if they put their best foot forward, they can continue to heal. And if they're not ready to forgive, like Patrick Jan points out, they don't have to. So when you understand what love does this. It's discerning, equanimous love, like God is. It's not going to point a finger and shame you, because shame is not necessary. And that's because if you really know what shame is for, our evolutionary psychologists have shared it with me. It's because we'd get kicked out of the herd. We're not living in the medieval times anymore. We don't get kicked out of the herd. Propelled by rage, we substitute one injustice for another. Propelled by compassion, we do what is needed. Thank you, Sadhguru. Self-righteous individuals need to go heal with Patrick Tian. Those of us who know not self-righteousness in this low frequency, but just the word, we can understand how some people with just the word and their ventral energy will use it differently. Meantime, we will not use it. We will use that we don't do self-righteous. We do compassion, love, and when someone is emotionally immature, their brain was impeded in its growth and impacted, and they don't have the capability to move beyond their mediocrity unless they go and get themselves healed. And if they want, they will. And if they don't, then they're going to join each other and pat each other on the back and continue to make us laugh in our buttholes with new stories. Cusco, have fun. Pinocchio, walk like me, jungle boy, monkey, whatever. Keep on doing the dance of the ghosts of the past. Keep on talking about Luciferian era. Keep on using lame ass. I mean, really, they don't even know how to use creativity at all. The other part is intellectually speaking, I'm not stimulated by mediocrity because they haven't come up with anything. It's also because they lose their adolescent essence because they are not essential. Essential spark. They don't have passion because they're not in the ventral energy. So every year they grow older and less energetic, like my facade friend. Social engagement. They don't want to engage with everyone. They think all people are bullshit. Instead, I say, no, there's emotionally mature ones and then they're immature, and we all are bullshit. Again, we're all shit for anyone. We can all be a moronic idiot because I'll make sense to myself always. Novelty, novelty. They really don't like new. They have no idea how they're upset that the sun is going to die out one day and that scientists will figure out how to help us get off the planet. So they're thinking about it in a very negative way. They're judging the future. It's like, okay, look, I mean, really, if you learned basic geology, you know tectonic plates move, volcanoes move, like really it's, please. I'm a mystic, spiritual in the Enlightenment Soul Age group. I'm not a moron who's needing ancient textbooks. I actually got a vision of the future, and I'm on the planet in the future, just so you know. Again, thank you. My future husband and I, we actually know our story because I also got an extra download when I was able to, and I got to share that one. And it was like, don't worry, we're going to get saved. So it's cool. We're going to go somewhere else. It's amazing. It's very different than Earth. Yes, we get to another planet. Novelty, and so when people say, did she fall off? No, I didn't break my head. I'm a mystic in the Enlightenment Soul Age group, and people who don't believe in us, it's okay. We don't need them to. Come on over, retreats, workshops, come on over, 5D mystics. I know you're like, yes, finally someone who doesn't talk about our brothers and sisters like piece of shit, because it's really sad, isn't it? It's sad, and then it's nerve-wracking because they play God, and it's like, look, I can't tell them they're playing God because they think they're not. And they can't hear me because they're in their ego right now, and they're spiritual bypassers with their anger. They don't manage manners. They have nothing except for a bunch of really lame-ass words. So they don't know novelty or creative expression. They know what they like, and then they know, I don't like that I'm going to be in space and it's the future. I'm from the future. That was one of the first downloads. I actually knew it because the minute I got, as an online marketer, I was like, I love all of this. And I am loving AI, by the way. So I love how much help I could get. But the part where I was like, okay, I'm happy. I'm a content creator, marketer, entrepreneur, because I don't do the sales pitch shit. I never have. I never will. I only work with successful businesses that care what they do. So we're the human element, which is why I was like, yeah, you need the human element because otherwise this is all the same. Repeat. It's just, yeah. By the way, if any of you who are still here listening or watching and you were in one of the lives, I mentioned a video and I gave the wrong name. So I forgot the name of the person who I was talking to, unfortunately, because I know they wrote it out so I could pronounce it correctly. And I know it starts with a D-U. Anyways, I gave you the wrong name if you are even here. And that's because I was like, shit. I went to watch the video and it wasn't the name that I wanted to give because they were looking for some business success stuff. So they're interested in succeeding in their career. And while it is a good name because it'll help them with the YouTube, that wasn't the name I wanted to give. It's another dude who's a really successful entrepreneur. You'll know success when you see it because they're authentic. So they gave really great ideas. But as I said, I'm happy that I'm a creator of my own because there's only so much that the machines will say. And it is always populated by us. And so because I know there's a bunch of pretenders out there, they just say the same stuff with the same pain points. Oh, there's other soul age groups. In another live, we talked about that one. So yeah, the beginners, the babies, they're just all over it. All over these dragging around pain points, which is why I also try to remind myself, Maria, not everybody's going to want the body and connection. Leave it alone. Not everyone wants emotional maturity. Leave it alone. Yes, but everyone needs to know. No Lucifer, demon, and no evil in the way of philosophical religious textbooks. Evil in the way of Michael Stone forensic criminology scale, yes. Evil in a way that we see things happening, sure, but not in a way of monsters. Because poor human beings, they have the first years of their life beginning in the womb in ways that the fetus was threatened. Thanks, Peter Levine, for that. So even I was threatened. That's why I got scoliosis. And I know there's other ways that people present it, but I do believe in smart human beings. And Peter Levine is smart. And so is Bezel van der Kolk. I can tell data when I hear it, and then I can tell bullshit story, meaning, okay, narrative, data, narrative. Maybe they'll match up. We'll find out. But you don't know everything just because you're my ancestors. Sorry. Novelty, creative expression, essential spark, social engagement, intelligent mind, differentiated self, 3-year-old who says, you can't spank me is in my body, so you're not the authority of me. And nor any traditional book, because again, you don't know the future. And using the past for the future. Zero plank, dharma, not karma. We ain't repeating the past, and we're not applying the future. Future's not been chosen and decided yet. Are you playing fortune tellers in a way that says something that is untrue? That's how it works when you're a dharma brain. It's like, no, the future don't look the way you're talking. The way you're talking sounds like yesterday's news, and you sound like you can't let go of that, what you see, which makes sense, as my mind will only be able to create based on the information it has had, like the AI. And so when you're smart, you know exactly this, which is why science, we appreciate sciences. Even the assholes who say there's never been a medium ever. But that asshole is doing research and more research, and continuing. And there is why our one focused and enamored with themselves serve a purpose. Cut it off from Purusha Prakriti. And that is how intelligence works. When it is with God and Source and Akash, all of our brothers and sisters, whether we like it or not. When I meet mediocrity, I don't like it, but I know that golden nuggets will come from some things. And then from other things, the golden nugget is your colleagues don't know shit. So don't you ever listen to any of those human beings who are just trending topics of repeat monkeys, blah, 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 the jungle boy. Then you spot the good ones, which is why I mentioned a name, because that person is smart. So is Gary Vee. The other person I mentioned, they are knowledgeable. And that's why there's a difference, which is why I wanted to mention it. So if you are the person that I think you might be here still, email me directly. Maria, what name? I was in the live with you. And that way I can go find the video. Then I'll tell you the name and give you the video again. And that way I'll feel better because I will have given what I wanted to give in the first place. Even though they can probably find it out by themselves. But thanks so much for stopping by. Again, like, share, and subscribe, and allow yourself to share the channel, YouTube, Spotify. I am on more than just Spotify for podcasters, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music. I am on TikTok. Go follow. Once we get to 1,000, we'll have some subscription paid content there. Doing lives there and YouTube lives. And so thank you again for stopping by. For the main modules of the Inner Growth Mindset, it's the online mindset course that is partly online on Udemy, but the main modules are for free on the main website, inspiringhumanpotential.com. And when you become a paid subscriber, you'll find that we already have some content there. We have mindful mindset practices, exercises, readings, and spotlights, but we're going to be adding, I might be adding soon something new. I'll let you know. Meantime, we started with anger, so allow yourselves to go ahead and do that if you want. You'll support the channel, and you'll also be able to unsubscribe whenever you want. And I'm still setting up patron membership for those of you who just are happy to support, and that's it. Basically, you don't want the content, even though I'm going to say you're going to have fun with the content, because if you're doing mindful mindset, why wouldn't you want more? And it's not going to be on YouTube or anywhere else. So obviously I understand if you don't use platforms for podcasts, because that's where you might not want to listen to it. But when YouTube will open us up to tiers, we'll have stuff here too. So if that's the case where you'd prefer this platform, just wait a little bit longer. And again, TikTok will be available as well. So again, thanks for stopping by.